everyone. Happy Thursday. We're coming at you a little bit earlier today because my usual co-hosts of the podcast that we start at 4 are both at VidCon. So today we are, I wanted to split the difference kind of, and I'm like, oh, could start at 4, could start at 5:30, so I might as well start at 4:30. Did that make any sense? No, because that would technically be 45 minutes to split evenly because math, but I didn't want to do that. So I want to start early. So here we are. Hello to Annie in the chat. Today, I'm so excited, y'all. Serious business stuff. I've got my sparkly cup today. So I know that we mean business today. So we're going to start off with a very important question. And that is, what's in your cup, people? What's in your cup? Today, mine is... Maybe it's something fancy. No, it's not. It's tea. It's the same. It's the tea. That's what's up. Dole Whip Dad. Oh my gosh. It's so great to see you. Oh, so great to see you. I'm going to put your comment on screen. So great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, I have so much to catch up with all of you on. First of all, do we see, nope, this way. Got to point this way. Do we see this little thing right here? So first of all, I'm not saying anyone has to do this. I'm saying that the fact that this exists right here is testament to learning something, okay? Because I was watching the eCam Ken and Glenn stream that was on the 20th. And during the stream, they decided to incorporate a widget. A widget is something like this guy over here. So like an external website of alerts or something like that where it pops up with some sort of integration. So they did it live on their stream. And I was like, hey, they can sign up for a, buy me a coffee, install their widget in a couple minutes. I should be able to figure this out given a few days, right? So I did. I watched them do it, and then I did the same steps. And so this little widget exists because I watched them do it. And that's not the only one. I have 2 widgets installed. This one is just, I don't know. It just hangs out here for a while. But the other one is supposed to be if we get like a channel member or a subscriber. I don't know if it works on YouTube or if it only works on Twitch, but a subscriber or a super chat or a something or other, it's supposed to come up. It was like a little dinosaur animation, but I replaced it with like little animated GIFs, however you want to say it, from Giphy. So if that happens, we're going to 1, celebrate that the connection is working correctly, and 2, you guys will see a fun animation pop up. But I want to turn it on so at least I can be like, oh my gosh, I did it. I installed the widget. And this is my reminder to tell y'all. I did 2 widgets. All right, I'm going to go to the chat really quick. None of you asked for that story or care. But I have the microphone and you don't. So you will listen to my story. And then we're going to get into a couple of topics that I have, as well as any YouTube questions. I put the call out there. If you have YouTube questions, put them in the chat. All right. So Andrew Coleman Smith is in the house. Hi, friend. Oh, it's so great to see you too. Oh, look at your face. Annie, I don't want you to think it wasn't great to see you too. It was also great to see you. Let me put on Andrew's smiley face. I'm going to put on this one, which is a hello chat. We've got Diet Pepsi and we've got, yes, the Buy Me Coffee. Yes. All the good things. Okay. So while we wait for y'all to have a YouTube question that you want to put in the chat, I have 2 stories to share with you. I know, who am I, right? Whew, 2 stories. I'm gonna write myself in on a Post-it so I don't forget what the stories are that I want to go over with you. Because that's the way my brain works. So you got to learn to use eCam. Oh, wow. You really got to get yourself into the, are you in it? In the Facebook group? A million geniuses in there, all with eCam. And if they can't answer your question, like, I just don't see that being possible, or where they wouldn't be able to help you out and answer your question. Cause like there's some geniuses in there. So, yeah, do that. Or you can ask me, or we can ask, Doc Rock, or somebody will get you your question answered. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2 things. Oh man. Which one do I want to start with? Because they are varying size and length. Okay, let's start with the medium-sized story. So we're going to start with the way that my dogs embarrassed me so much yesterday and why Amazon came to the rescue. Okay, so first of all, I like to, in the afternoon, when the puppies are having one of their pee-pee breaks, I go out and I have this like anti-gravity reclining chair, right? Like one of those patio chairs, and it's like halfway in the sun and halfway not in the sun. And so I lean back and I have my legs kind of starting to, feel the warmth, and I'm just hanging out, and my dogs are, playing in the yard. So I think and they're quiet. My bigger dog, Cooper, he's a runner. He's a track star, y'all. And sometimes he'll just disappear. And he'll just go underneath the fence, and I just won't see him, because even though it's fully fenced, you guys have seen them. They're very small dogs. So and he's gone. And you got to go out yelling in the neighborhood and being like, oh my gosh, Cooper, come home. Right? Obviously, as you do. For those who don't have pets, I'm sorry. This story, though, it's going someplace. So we've got the dogs. We're hanging out. All of a sudden, I notice I only have one dog. My good girl sitting in the sun. And I'm like, oh, Cooper, right? So I go inside and I get my shoes on, and then the doorbell rings. And then, so I scoop up Casey because she's going nuts because the doorbell is ringing. And so I open it, and I think it's one of my brand new neighbors who's just moved in because there was a U-Haul, right? It's brand new neighbor. It's not like, and this is very new neighbor. So we haven't met yet. She's like, hi. And I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Because Casey, when someone is at the door, as some dogs do, just going crazy, barking. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. We were about to head, I'm looking for my dog. And then she's like, oh yeah, dog. And she's like, I think my husband has your dog. And I was like, okay. So she yells out in the driveway, and she's like, honey, it's this house. And that's never good news when, first of all, you're like, it's this house. And so this is the house we warned you about. So I'm like, okay. So yelling at the husband up the driveway, all of a sudden, her husband, what I assume is her husband, comes walking down this long driveway, as well as this other person who's a different neighbor from farther in a different neighborhood, holding Cooper under his arm, just walking down the street. He is pleased as punch with himself. Not the human, the dog. Cooper is pleased as punch with himself. He's like, look at me, everyone's having a party, and like, look at all the fun people who are here. And I'm like, oh, you scamp. So I'm trying to get Cooper. Casey's still going crazy. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, we were out in the backyard hanging out, and I think he just got out, right? I'm pretty sure this neighbor thinks I'm like the most neglectful dog owner. And I'm like, first of all, let's not go there. Okay. He's got like a menagerie of pillows and blankets and, beds underneath this desk. He's got like an entire bedding system. Not that he needs one in the bedroom because he sleeps in the bed every night. He's got his own bed in front of the fireplace that I turn on for him every night so he can bask in the warmth of. Okay, he's doing fine as far as dogs. So he's living the life. And this neighbor is like looking at me like, you don't know how to take care of your dogs. And I'm like, I am hurt because I love those little fuzzy faces more than anything, right? And so, and the neighbor is like, I was pretty sure this was, I've seen you before walking them, and I was pretty sure it was one of these homes because we always see you turn down this driveway. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. He looks like he's been out there for about, he's been gone. I've been 10 minutes. I don't know. Who knows? 10, 15 minutes. And then they lay on all this stuff like, oh, yeah, we tried to give him some water, but he didn't want to take it. I'm like, he's not dying. He's not starving. He's not like parched because it's so hot out here. It's not hot out. Okay. And I'm like, we were just chilling, eating watermelon on the patio like 10 minutes ago. I don't know if you know this, but watermelon is a great treat for dogs. So we've been having our watermelon, the three of us, on the sun patio. And I'm like, he's not a neglected dog. Don't let him talk to you like that. So I scoop him up and I'm like, thank you so much, very sorry. And then he's like, you may want to check because the back of his collar, you can't really read the phone number. And I'm like, okay, that one I'll give you. That one I will give you because technically I had a different phone number. And so I had changed it and I'd put one of those P-Touch labels, and I'd printed out his new phone number, but obviously it got worn away. But also, let's not get it twisted. He's wearing his black leather collar with like the rhinestone letters on his name, so everyone obviously knows his name is Cooper, and he's got like a Seahawks plaque on his little name. Like, he's a well taken care of dog, people, but I just have to say he embarrassed me beyond all get up because it made it seem like I just don't know how to take care of a dog, and I do. Okay? I'm sorry, I just had to get that one off my chest. Yeah. Did you guys ask for that story? No, but I just want you to like reassure me that I'm a good dog mom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so if you could just do that for me, I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go over here to the comments, and Dole Whip Dad says, no, I need to spend a few hours and learn it. Oh, yeah. And in fact, there are plenty of people in the eCam group that will even like log on with you and go over it with you. So yeah. Annie has a question. She says, what are some of the best ways to promote the Amazon affiliate? I just applied and was accepted, so I want to get started. That's a good question. One is going to be, you want to have it in the description box of all of your videos that you're talking about that product or whatnot, right? You could create like a Pinterest pin with a link to the Amazon product. You could do an Instagram story with a swipe up. Now that everyone has the swipe up and link feature to the affiliate link to the product, you create a blog post talking about the product. Any of those things would suffice, right? This will probably be on a separate YouTube channel. I'm going to say it depends on what the item is and how you use it. Okay, so we see, oh, thank goodness. Thank you, Jedediah. I'm going to highlight all these. It says, I am a great doggo mom. I am a great dog. Thank you. Thank you all. I just needed some reassurance, you guys, because I'm not getting it from Cooper. Hello to Dr. Elo. Great to see you. Hello, Sammy Superstar. Great to see you. All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the reassurance, everybody. Okay. That's the only question so far that we've had is one about Amazon affiliate links. Y'all, I know you can do better than this, so help me out. What else you got? What else you got? Also, if no one else says anything, I'm going to tell you my second story now. Now, one thing I think is so interesting is I do not believe that I'm a very good storyteller. Raise your hand if you kind of feel that your storytelling abilities as a YouTuber or content creator need some work too. Because I have difficulty being able to maintain focus in a consistent story, obviously with the ADD squirrel brain that is myself. If I don't have the post-its and stuff to kind of keep me on track, I will have a harder time, obviously. But I've found that it is more difficult to complete a story because a lot of people have that beginning, that climax, the end, the parable. You wrap it all up in a pretty bow, right? And I have a harder time doing that because I'll be like, oh, and then this happened, and then I'll be like, squirrel, oh, we should talk about this. And it can be really difficult to complete stories. And it's difficult because I want to obviously tell the story, but then I want to move on to the next thing, and I want to talk about the other story as well, which makes it harder to be able to wrap that pretty bow and have that tie back to stories. So it is a skill that I am working on. Let me know if you're in that same boat or if you feel like storytelling, got this down. Now, one of the reasons that I bring this up that I want to tell you about is not only telling a story, but sometimes the stories that you tell yourself. What do you mean by that, Shelly? Great question. I'd love to tell you. If you know, you know who that's referencing. Now, I have always had a people pleaser mentality, and I don't even know if I want to go that far. I've always had I don't want to disappoint people mentality, which is kind of people pleasing, but kind of a little different at the same time, right? I've always wanted to make sure that people leave with a good feeling after an interaction, after something, okay? And one of the biggest fears that I have is disappointing people, not being what they were hoping I would be, not being enough of something, right? And that then starts to fall into a little bit of imposter syndrome, always feeling not good enough to be in the room, or if you're the biggest one in the room and you get graduated to a new room, then being like, holy moly, here I am in another room and I'm not sure I should be here either, right? So there are these graduation steps that happen. So even when you're working on mindset, which I think is so important as a creator and something that is greatly overlooked, because when you're in the correct mind space and it's all clicking and working for you, then you don't have reactions that happen to you, such as what happened to me. So let's talk about this a little bit more. I think y'all know I did a fill-in coaching for someone who has like what would you call it? A YouTube coaching group, a group coaching program. And it was one of their like monthly calls. And so they called me in to do like a guest spot. And so I came in to do a guest spot, and then, and I'm like, yeah, I think it went fairly well. But when you don't have people also telling you that it went fairly well, you're just kind of like, did it go fairly well? I think so. And it's hard to gauge, but you're always second guessing, not only as an educator, just as, did I come off right? Did I come off like patient enough, but experienced enough, but knowledgeable enough, but easy enough to understand, right? All of these things are going on. All these things going on. Oh no, Pixel P, I'm so sorry about your sister. Yeah, go take care of that. It's lovely to see you. I'm so sorry. Go be with her. I'm sending you positive vibes and glitter your way. I'm so sorry. So you have these thoughts that are going to come to mind though. And then, even when I sent a voicemail, or I'm sorry, even when I sent an invoice for my time, then I still am thinking like, is this too much time that I've charged? Is this the right rate? Is this like, even though it's all agreed upon, and even though it's like a foregone conclusion and you know that it's supposed to be X amount of dollars at X amount of hours, I was still like, oh, I don't know. And even though the invoice was paid within hours of it being sent, right? All of these thoughts are still coming through my head. Then I get a voice note. My mind was spiraling, y'all. Is this where she, or is this where they tell me like I didn't do a good job, or there was a complaint, or I pissed someone off, or like someone, lodged a complaint about something, right? And that's immediately where my head went. Why? I don't know, because it's trained and I'm trying to get out of it. Okay. So I am in the like midst of a full on, like almost, I don't want to use the word panic attack because I don't want to diminish anything, but I am like literally starting to like sweat, heart racing, like, oh no, this is not good. What if they ask for their money back? What if, what if they just, they're like, thanks, but no thanks because you're supposed to come back next month. What if they're just really mad? All these things that you build up. And so I listen to the voice note finally, but I had to pump myself up. I had to be like ready to listen to it. Y'all, they were just congratulating me, checking in, saying hi, thanking me for my time and effort. And here I am about the edge of like crying and breaking down, thinking like they don't like me and they're going to not ask me to come back. Okay. This is what is happening in my head, right? And then I'm composing myself, and the least that I could bring myself to do in that moment and still be okay. I was like, I just double tapped the message, like, so it brings up a little heart reaction. I'm like, thank you. And so, this is today, then I composed myself to a voice note being like, hey, thanks so much for, your message. We had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to, just the why immediately is my mind in like, they don't like you. They don't want to ask you back. They had complaints. You have a problem. This is the problem. Okay. So this is something that I need to work on. But why I'm coming back to storytelling is, wow, did I weave a story about how the world and everyone is against me? And I was fully believing it. And then I was like in disbelief, waiting for the yeah, but moment. You know what I mean? When someone's like, you're great. We love you, but we're not going to hire you. that moment where you're just like, and lift me up so you can squish me. It's that moment, right? It's that moment. And so I will say that, hey, wait, it's supposed to do something. It's supposed to, dang, wait, where is my widget? Why isn't it doing the thing? Did it come on screen? Oh, shoot. Oh, Dr. Elo, you missed it. I was watching the Ken and Glenn live stream for eCam, and they were doing widgets. And so I installed a widget. So I'm trying to do the same widget that they had here, as well as it's supposed to happen. The Streamlabs one, it's supposed to do something. It didn't really do it. Oh, wait. You guys see it? Look, there's a little doggy running. You guys don't know how long it took me to like find the right GIF image thing for that, because I wanted one that was transparent, and you don't care. That's okay. But did you see that? Did you guys see that? Right? It had a little sound sound, and it had like a thing that came on. Okay, wait. Let me do the super chat thing. Where is it? Here we go. The normal super chat one. Here we go. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. Sweet. Okay, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw in the chat too, India just popped into the chat, and I want everybody, and I mean this, everybody who's here, all 4 of you, okay? I want all of you to put some clap emojis in the chat, and I want you to do it first, and then I'm going to tell you why we're doing it. And while we do that, I'm going to sip my tea. Everyone, I want to see some clap emojis in the live stream comment. Hopefully this is not going to burn my mouth. It still did. It still burned my mouth. Holy moly. Whew. There are 5 of us? Yes. All 5 of you. I want to see all 5 of you with emojis of clapping. So far, I only have Annie. Come on. Come on, y'all. Give me some. India, you're clapping for yourself. Yes. Yes. Come on. Yes. Okay, so the reason I want to give you your snaps and clap for you, India, y'all, if you did not know, also great love for the eCam fam here. So Adam, Dole Whip Dad was asking about eCam, right? India's great at that too. India just completed 100 days of live streaming, 100 days in a row. Yeah, not 100 live streams, just period, sporadically, 100 in a row. Fantastic. You can't see this, but Jedediah on Facebook is clapping and putting that on screen. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. That is such a behemoth of a goal, triple digits of anything, trying to get, building that new habit. I was watching, and I would just be like, every day I get an alert, and me like, India's live now. Day 23 of 100 days of life, and I'm like, day 99. And then I remember being like 100. I'm like, oh, you did it. That's amazing. And I'm really proud of you. It takes a lot of fortitude, and just, I did, 31 days maybe in October a couple years ago. And that was a struggle. So you did 100 days straight of live streaming. You're fantastic. Big props to you. Right? And you learn so much from it. All of a sudden you're not stressed about the little things on little hiccups and bumps in the road when it comes to live streaming, because you're like, did that on day 45. No big deal. Jedediah, what are you doing over there on Facebook, the lone Facebook watcher? You can come over to YouTube and join the other 5 of us. Hang out with us. India is the true legend. Yes, put that on screen. Coach Adam said so. It must be true. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So this live stream, though, is supposed to be a YouTube Q&A. But I had those 2 stories that I wanted to share with you because I think it's important. Number 1, for anyone who may ever have looked at me and be like, oh, few and far between. Okay. But if you would have thought like, oh, Shelly's so well-spoken, or Shelly is totally comfortable with going live, or Shelly is please don't ever say she's a boss babe and she knows what's going on, or, you know, she doesn't worry about anything. I think my little meltdown almost story about a voice note that came through and all the things that I thought was going to be included in such voice note. There you go. There you go. Okay. Jedediah says, I like being an outcast. No, you're good. You're good. You can hang out over where you are. But this is your time, and I want to get to any Q&As that you may have. So if you have any Qs that you'd like me to attempt to A, let's go. Let's bring it. And I don't want you to be like thinking, well, I don't want you thinking that I think that I'm such this expert that I like definitively only have one kind of answer. I am totally open to discussing if you think some advice I may have is wrong, or if you think something isn't, you know, something else isn't correct, whatever. It's fine. We can talk about it, because I think one thing that's interesting is a lot of the people that are out there, if you come across people who believe that they are unequivocally correct and there's no possible way that anyone else could be, it's good to identify those people right away, because those are harsh people to ever have conversations with, because you could literally be like, my right toe is broken. And they'll be like, no, it's not. It's a sprained elbow. And you're like, dude, it's my body. I know. And they'd be like, I went to medical school in 1999, you know, and so I know. My sister's a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's your own body, they're still going to be like, I know. Those are not the people that you want to have the best conversations with. Just putting that out there. Okay. What do we got? What do we got, y'all? I'm talking YouTube. We are currently in the midst, by the way, of why we're going live at this time right now. My usual co-hosts of the podcast, they're at VidCon right now. Has anybody out there been to VidCon? Someone commented and asked me, are you going to be at VidCon? And I was like, oh, whoa. I think you've overestimated my abilities to the amount of conferences I can go to in a year. 2, I'm still recovering emotionally, physically, and all the above from PodFest. Okay. And 3, I am like doling out my needed energy that will be in advance for when I go to Vid Summit. So I was like, VidCon is not in the cards for me unless I was to go with some sort of company that sponsored me, unless it was on the Business Insider track, you know, and it was avoiding the big expo hall and, you know, the 50,000 people that are there, because otherwise it's just too much for me personally. No thanks. Too much for me. Okay. India. And Dr. Yay, we have questions. Yay. Put your questions in there. So the first one is from Dr. Elo. Dr. Elo says, what is your take on #shorts to grow your YouTube channel? Oh, shoot. It went off the screen too. Let me go back and read it. Should shorts have their own channel? If you are a channel member, I want your fingers ready. You know which emoticon, that's Twitch. You know which avatar? What are we calling them? What are we calling them? Help me. I'm literally word searching as we go. Special emojis, whatever you call them. I need you to put out the it depends emoji at this point in time. And I think you know that because it depends. Because it depends. What is the main purpose and goal of the YouTube shorts? Are they different than your main content? Are they the same audience? Because sometimes they are not. We all know that shorts can be served up to people who are not subscribed to you, right? And it is a way to expose more people to you who may not be familiar with you, because they're going to come across you in the shorts shelf, hopefully, whilst swiping, right? Thank you for the it depends. By the way, for anyone who is seeing these special emojis and their names in certain colors, that's because they're channel members. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate all of my channel members. I appreciate y'all for watching, but special love to the channel members as well for all sorts of fun emojis and whatnot. Okay, So, Dr. Elo, tell me more. If it's little clip bits, and remember that's my word, clips/snippets, if they're clippets of your longer show that you're putting out as a teaser, same channel. If they are wildly drastically variant in type of content than you normally do, aka here's a 30-second short of me baking a pie and my usual content is motorcycle repair, different channel because it's a different audience, right? Because what if you have one viral video about baking a pie, how to do the perfect lattice crisscross apple pie topping, and then you have a million views on that short and have these people come to your channel, and then the rest of your videos are all about motorcycle repair and carburetors and how to make sure that's all correct. That's not the same. And the whole point is to get subscribers who would be interested in seeing more of you and your content, right? So if it's a clip it from a live stream and it's by itself, remember when I did like the shorts on shorts where it's 20 shorts about YouTube shorts taken from one 20-minute live stream about YouTube shorts? Same channel, perfect, fine. If that clip it by itself is still valuable information, great. Hopefully it would make them want to catch more clip its or the full meal deal. Great. Does that help? Let me know if that helps, okay? Louise, hey, great to see you. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, so let me see what we have over here. If that doesn't help clarify or bring some clarity to it, give me more. Give me more information. I'm very Britney Spears here. Give me more. Next, question, suggestions, thoughts to build out an interview lineup. India, really great question. Really great question. I'm going to go with, it depends. Are you wanting to turn your show into a mainly focused, what is that? One of us, one of us, one of us. Wait, Dr. Elo live streaming. Wait, you're already a member. Wait, what does that mean? It helps. I will now eat my cake on top of my carburetor. Perfect. What was that? I don't know what that means. Is it that you've been a member for a lot? I don't know what that means, but thank you so much. I know you're already a member though, but I'm going to play the new member orientation animation anyway. Everybody, block your ears. It's really loud. Okay, hold on. Where is it? I got to find the right button. My stream deck's too far away. Where is it? Subscribe. New member. Here we go. You guys ready? Oh no. Oh no. I knocked it over. In 3, 2, 1. Cover your ears. Turn it up now. Thank you, Dr. Elo, for continuing to be a channel member. I don't know exactly what happened, but I appreciate you. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, where were we? Interviews. Do you want the majority? Oh no, I got to turn that off. I got to turn it off. Do you want the majority of your videos to be interview based? If yes, interview schedules are going to be interesting, right? So when it comes to the guests, are the guests in your niche? Does the niche have like seasonality? So if you've got something that's happening, is there a particular thing that happens around Christmas, you know, or Veda, if it was like vlog every day in, you know, August or April, are there certain people in those types of communities that you want to have conversations with? Are there people that you know of, like in your community, let's say, like Roberto Blake? We all know that he's working on a book. Maybe if he was to almost go on like a book tour, he would book himself on several live streams to be interviewed about his new book, to have those audiences be exposed to him, his educational background style, and hopefully the ability to buy the book. And hopefully you've worked it out. Maybe you have your Amazon affiliate link to Roberto's book to pre-order or something like that if he's a guest on your show. So maybe it's a win-win. He gets to tell people about his book. You get to hopefully make some money from the Amazon affiliate link, something like that, right? So if you know that there are things happening in people's lives, such as, I know someone has a cookbook coming out, or they actually have new knives that are coming out. And I'm like, hey, maybe that's a time where we do a live stream together and we do a cooking a recipe from my upcoming cookbook. So once you kind of start to think about that, or if there's certain things happening calendarily where it's something like basketball is happening, and so you want to interview a basketball coach as well. Maybe you're into interviewing athletes or something like that, and you're talking about mindset. And then you've got someone who's going to be talking about, Summer Olympics and swimming and all this different stuff. And then you're able to bring in the seasonality of that and kind of start to build your calendar and like plot point people in where it makes sense, right? So if Roberto has a book coming out in August, maybe it doesn't make sense to book him, let's say in September after his book has been out a couple months, but it's, right at the beginning of when his book is coming out, or like the week before, or the day before, something like that, right? That would make more sense because you want to have the most bang for your buck there. So they also may have different things coming up. So this is the way like magazines and stuff happen too, right? And think about late night show hosts. When you've got a new movie coming out, a new television series coming out, that's when those people get booked as guests, because you want to be able to say, hey, I've got a new movie. It's out in theaters right now. And, this is what you're going to see. So I hope you go watch it, right? So Tom Cruise isn't going on and talking about Maverick 5 months before it's filmed. It's about like, it's coming out this weekend or it's currently playing in theaters type of thing. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps. Let me know if that helps, okay? It depends. Same audience, same niche. Yes. Same audience, same niche, same channel. Different audience or completely different niche, different channel. You got it. Yes. Okay, cool. It's still too hot, y'all. It's still burning me. I don't know if I should like take the lid off. Oh, man. By the way, did I tell you it's the Tazo Awake English Breakfast Tea with some honey in the bottom? Thank you, buddy. If it isn't my little runaway, would you like to show the people your collar? He has a fancy collar, y'all, with his name emblazoned on it in rhinestones. It's not like... Don't look at me like that. Anyways, let's move on. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps, okay? This next question is from Coach Adam. It says, question, what are your thoughts on merch for your channel? Is it worth the effort? I'm sorry. It is like the repeating mantra, but channel members, bust out your it depends emoji. So here is what I'm going to say about that. Some people do merch as a way just to spread awareness or to help other people feel like part of a community. Ecamm is a good example of this. Ecamm currently has a $5 t-shirt and a $5 mug. They're obviously not making money on this. They're just doing it because they just want to share the love. It's like a special bundle deal right now, right? It's a $5 shirt or a $5 mug, or it's a bundle of $10. So maybe some people get exposed to the merch. Hey, this is nice. It's probably through Sylvia and the Nixons, right? It's probably Press and Sew. Who knows? And all of a sudden they're like, hey, I like this. Now you've got Ecamm merch out in the wild. You've got people getting a good impression from Press and Sew, right? And it's not about making money per se. There are some people and some creators who make a lot of money with merch. And now I'm looking at like the Logan Pauls with their Maverick merch, or, that kind of stuff. And so you have, you have the choice as you're building in your prices into things like, Spreadshop or, Teespring or Spring, whatever it is now, to have your price margin set wherever you want it to be. And this would be the same if you were doing merch by Amazon, which is another on-demand, or Redbubble or something like that. You have a minimum price that you have to have it at. for it to be listed. And then the amount you put on after that is going to be your profit margin. And then your profit margin will also be in fluctuation based on things like, did you use the high quality premium material versus like the cotton one, you know, those types of things. And so some people do or don't realize that's why some t-shirts or sweatshirts are more expensive than others. Hopefully you've explained that. For myself, as an example, I think I have a profit margin of 70 cents. So I listen to like what the minimum is, and then I add like $1 or like the amount to make it a dollar amount, which is usually around 70 cents. So I can't even have any of my merch ever go on sale because you have to have either a percentage or something off. And when I've tried before, they'll be like, it would fall below the minimum. So my merch is not for anything other than just to like, if you want it and you want to like feel like you're part of the club, cool. It's not padding my pockets in any way. That being said, are there certain things that you can make that could? Yes, because depending on if you're doing stuff with print on demand, then you're not having to have any of that merchandise in house, obviously. You guys know this. And I don't think for a lot of people that merch is probably going to be that huge moneymaker, and some people will do it because they like the person and they want to support, but I'm not always going out and like picking that as my favorite shirt, right? Sometimes I am if it's like a special one that was like the Owen Beat Cancer With Me shirt. That one I proudly wore because I was like, hey, I made a donation and we're part of this community. There was one for El Jefe Reviews' brother or cousin, and so that one, sometimes you guys have seen me wear that one, the Spread Love shirt. Other than that, I don't typically go out and buy a whole bunch of merch, or I wouldn't expect a lot of my friends to go out and buy my merch. So for me personally, it's not a huge money maker and it's not a huge focus for me, but is it an additional stream of income that, if done well, could make you a lot of money? Yes. One thing I'll say, if you can do print on demand, or if you can do items that are digital in nature where you've already created them and then people just buy and download them, I feel like it's a better thing. Does that make sense? Do I see my favorite plumber in the house? Roger, I was thinking of you today because two different things. One, I have to hire a plumber to install a toilet, replace a toilet and install a toilet. And two, my kitchen faucet has sprung a leak in the hose thing that comes down in the thing. And I was thinking, I wonder if Roger has a video that could help me with that. And I think the answer is I'm going to buy a new faucet and have the plumber install it when they install the toilet. I think that's it. I think that's the answer. What are you doing? So good to see you. If you're out there and you want to come in, you let me know. I'll toss you a link. We're just shooting the breeze right now. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you. Besides, I'm still waiting on a message from you about what your calendar schedule looks like. Tick, tick. Tick, tick. FaceTime me and you install it. I know you could probably walk anyone through it. I'll have you know. Did I tell you this? I watched a plumbing video, and I was like, you gotta be so proud of me. I was thinking of you for two other reasons. One, I had a slow draining drain in the bathroom, and I went under there and I took it apart, and I had my little bucket underneath, and I was catching the stuff and I was cleaning out the ickiness, and best believe that drain is flowing like a champ now. Woo! Yes. It was great. Second, I decided I was so mad when we were at PodFest that my charger needed a micro USB to recharge itself for the battery external charger. And you were like, oh my gosh, this one's the best. So I got a similar model. It's kind of the one that's got like this fabric outside. It is a Mophie, but it does have a micro USB, it's a USB-C for input and output and fast charging, 18 watt, and it's a 20,000. You know what I'm saying. milliamp, whatever. So this sucker for my next conference or next trip or something like that, I was thinking of you. I got this. The Mophie. The Mophie. The Mophie. Did I offer to throw you a link if you want to come in? Let me know if you want to come in and we can chat. I would love to have you on. But yes, had the Mophie. I was thinking of you about plumbing stuff too. And I was thinking, gosh, it's been a long time since I've had a really great steak. Where's Roger when you need him? Where's Roger when you need him? So you let me know if you want to come in. I'll toss you a link, okay? Oh no, the green screen's on. Thank you, Luis, for telling me. Thank you. Oh, it's that one that's programmed into the Stream Deck. It's the Stream Deck one that's doing it. Luis, you're always looking out for me. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Roger Wakefield, I was waiting on you. You said you were going to go back and check your schedule, and then I was going to give you available dates as well. So, all right. Next, who's got more on the YouTube questions? Who's got next? Who's got next? In the super chat thingy, it allows you to brag about how many months you've been a member. Oh, okay. Dr. Ela, you've been a member for a while, haven't you? Yeah. Jazz hands. Love it. Sammy Superstar, you are correct. There are a lot of legends in the chat. Yes. Yes. Luis is one of the nicest guys out there, too. You're a legend. You're a legend, man. Jedediah, you still feeling good being the outcast on Facebook? You still good? You still out there? You still with me? You still with me? All right. We were talking about YouTube Shorts. We talked about scheduling for interviews. We talked about, what was the other one? Just want to make sure we got all of these. Take on YouTube Shorts, thoughts on building out a schedule, thoughts on merch. Okay, so the last thing with merch is it's nice to have it. I don't see it being a substantial slice of your revenue pie, but good to have it more for visibility and top of mind than a lot of other stuff. Okay. And then also I was thinking if you are going to have merch, sometimes digital is better than physical, unless you're really going to get into some of the print on demand and whatnot. Okay. Repurpose small clips of my live streams and guide them to watch the full video. I would say if you have a YouTube short, the answer should be complete in the YouTube short, or like the purpose of watching that video, lesson learned, parable, whatever you want to compare it to. It should not be a watch this. It should be a, hey, I did this trick. Maybe the only watch this that I would recommend is something like, hey, do you want to see me how to do this special effect? And you know, it's really easy. I did it in 2 minutes and I can teach you how to do it too. And if you're interested in that, cool, check this out. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's fine. But something else, maybe not so much. Maybe another exception would be something like, here's one of the top 3 eyeshadow palettes of the year. It's this one. If you want to know what the other 2 are, maybe check out this video. Something like that, maybe. But I technically would actually make 3 of those shorts, one talking about each one of them. So, you know what I'm saying? Because then you have 3 chances to show up in the shorts shelf with the 3 top best eyeshadow palettes you can buy at Sephora, each individual short being talking about a different one. So the likelihood of someone coming across all 3, not that high. Likelihood of someone coming across one, wanting to know what the other 2 are, higher. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I would do it that way, but typically elsewise, I would keep the meat of whatever lesson you're trying to convey in your 1 minute. Hope that helps. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Thank you for the green screen one. Oh, here we go. Here's one. My Lone Ranger over there on Facebook. Jedediah says, next, is advertising on Facebook to promote your videos worth it? No. With exception. With exception. And here's the exception. So all my channel members flood with, it depends. Okay. This is the same when I tell people, is it going to be great idea to buy YouTube ads to get views? I'm going to say, if you are using ads to drive views to your channel, and that is the end of that sentence, bad idea. Okay. You're going to find a lot of the people that come in through these advertising, and it's going to be really easy to blow through your budget real quick on your daily spend. And a lot of the time, even if you try to get the right grouping and parameters of what you're looking for, it's not always perfect. I would say that if you do not have a product, service, or something to sell to recoup that money, and the only thing that you're offering is the video itself, while that's all well and good, it's not the right path, because you're going to kill any of your organic reach. You're going to flood it with this quick hit of influx of views, and then after that, you're going to see in your analytics it's going to die. And a lot of the people that come in, they're less likely to stay through the video, they're less likely to subscribe, and they're less likely to show signs of satisfaction with the video. That's thumbs up, likes, and average view duration. So unless you have something where you're going to reap the money back, such as I put out an advertisement basically as iMovie Made Easy. Stick a pin in that. We're going to come back to this as a second story. If I put out a video advertisement for iMovie Made Easy and someone buys that course at $99, right? If it costs me $50 to acquire that customer, $50 in ads to get a $99 return on it, that's not so bad. Or maybe 2 people buy it, right? But if the only way that I'm going to make back that money, let's say it's $50 in ads, is then through views, I think y'all know, well, even if you're not monetized, even if you are monetized, the amount of views that it would still take for you to reach that dollar amount is going to be thousands upon thousands upon thousands of views. So no, I don't believe that it's going to be a really good idea for you to do that. Okay. Now, are there people out there who have courses, who have, I've seen it on affiliate links, which is wild to me on a camera. But if you have a program, a course, a consultation, or something like that, where you're making the money back, then you just really need to look at your ROI, like on a spreadsheet, to be like, hey, I spent, $1,000 in advertising, but it got me $3,000 in revenue. Right? So then all of a sudden you're like, hey, is it worth it to me to spend $1,000 to get $3,000? I'm still net positive $2,000 minus any expenses for what it costs to put it up there, or have someone create the copy or create the graphics or whatever else, or whatever time it took me to create that video. It depends. It also then is going to depend on if you can use that same ad multiple times a year as part of like a sort of cycle, and you can depend on the amount of revenue that it's consistently going to give you every time you spend $1,000. So I spend $1,000, I get $3,000, then I spend $1,000 and I, lose $500, or I spend $1,000 and then I, right? Send you a link. All right. Oh, I'm so excited that you're here. Olay. Okay. Mr. Wakefield, where would you like it? Facebook Messenger or on Twitter? Let me get my join link. So excited. So hopefully that makes sense to you. If you have if you have money and product that you can make back, that difference and delta, maybe not a bad idea. Just look at what you're spending and what the return is. Otherwise, if you're just depending on views or trying to grow your subscriber count, no. Also keep in mind that some of the views and things like that, when it's pushed behind advertisements, it's not going to help you when it comes to subscribers and watch hours, because things that have money and ads and stuff like that sometimes will get, you might get to keep the subscribers as part of the 1,000, but the watch time a lot of the time on ads, they calculate it differently. So it's not the same. So I'm going to go with it depends / no, not worth it. And I'm also telling you this as someone who has in the past bought ads, and I can tell you the quality of people who come in that influx, they're not high quality viewers. You need a lot more of them to also equal a good viewer. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna go back and send me a link. I'm gonna send it to you on, let me go open Twitter. Maybe Twitter. Roger. Oh, wait. Do you not follow me on Twitter, Roger? It says I follow you and you don't follow me. That's rude. I think you may have to follow me. I think you may have to follow me for me to be able to message you, because your messages are turned off if you're not, like, I think following you. So Roger Wakefield, I'm going to tell you, follow me on Twitter so I can message you. Oh, I am offended, Roger. I am offended. Kristen Keel, hello. How are you? I think, are you keeping Jedediah company? Okay. Also, let me play y'all a song while we figure out our life. Hi, Digital Slang. Roger Wakefield is not following me on Twitter, so I can therefore not message him, but I have sent him a message. That one's for you, Dr. Elo. Okay, do you guys remember what I told you to tell me to stick a pin in because we're coming back to it? Someone please remember and remind me, because I have a story and I need to be able to tell it to you, but first someone has to remind me what the story is about. You're my virtual post-it note people. So help me out. Help me out. Help me out. It was a good one, y'all. It was going to be a good story. It was a good story. Good story. Don't y'all threaten me. It was a good story. It was for iMovie. Oh, thank you, India. Okay, wait, where is the, India, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so here's the deal, y'all. Y'all remember when I privated 2.5 million views on my YouTube channel and I hid all of my videos about iMovie? Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember that? I remember it. It was January 1st, okay? So I was talking to my friend Gwen I Am, who's the podcast host with me on Thursdays. And I was like, you know, I know you're the data person and I'm always up for a good data test. And I hit all those views. And like, honestly, the only thing that's happened is, let's say I've lost 350 subscribers. And my ad revenue is cut into like 25% of what it was. Other than that, because I'm not putting out a lot of video on demands, I'm going live streams, I'm doing YouTube shorts. I haven't done, a lot of real videos, you know what I mean? Real videos. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to. And so I've been toying with the idea of just being like, put them all back. What's the harm? Maybe we run an experiment and a test on how long it takes me to rank again for all of those videos that I privated with those views. And Gwen's like, don't you threaten me with a good time because I love data. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about doing it. And she's like, well, you have to let me know what day. And I was like, okay, I'll let you know, because then you could always, and I said, do you want to run any reports before, because she has access to the back end of my channel. And I was like, do you want to run any reports? And I'm like, no, you're a data scientist. You can just chop off the day, right? And so that's where I'm at right now, is I'm considering republishing, unprivatizing those like 150 videos. Am I crazy? Am I nuts? Maybe all of the above, but I am thinking of doing this because the alternative was also going to be me trying to download all of them and put them up all into Uscreen individually as like a bonus for people who buy the iMovie course, but a lot of people aren't going to find my iMovie course if they're not finding my iMovie tutorials on YouTube. It's a vicious circle, y'all. So I'm thinking about putting all 150 or something videos back on my channel and just letting the chips fall where they may, and just being a big fat flopper. A big fat flopper, you know, where you think you're going to do one thing and then you flop to the other. So that's my story. I'm obviously not sticking to it. Thank you, buddy. That was a good shake. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts because, as always, do as I say, people, not as I do. I make all of the YouTube mistakes so you don't have to. I'm here for you. I've been putting in the work. I've been putting in a lot of work to screw that up. Oh, Roger Wakefield. Wait. Roger, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go, man. Oh, we got the best handlebar mustache in all of the county, the state, the United States. Here we go. Hold on. Let me bring in where's my interview buddy. Choking on the indignation over here. Okay, here we go. Here we go, Roger. Here we go. Welcome to the show. You're wearing your Podfest X. You know what? I was this close to wearing that shirt today.
You know, I put it on just for you.
Did you really?
Absolutely.
How did you know? How did you know, dude?
You know, I put on the sunglasses for Florida. I put on the shirt for you. I mean, man, you're what it's all about.
Oh, Roger, flattery will get you everywhere. Stop it.
I love that.
Stop it. Stop it.
How have you been doing?
I've been doing well. Thank you so much. I did, except for the catching COVID part. Except for that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
That was no bueno. For the one person out there who may not know who you are, do you want to do a little intro?
I'm just a plumber. Shelly calls me.
You stop it. Stop it. You know what?
In case she needs plumbing problems fixed. That's what I'm here for.
That's false and defamatory. And I resent that comment. Everyone, this is Roger Wakefield, formerly of Texas Greenworks Plumbing, down there in Texas where everything's bigger and better. And oh, I got a story to tell you about big hair, right? Anyways, have you heard we were having a discussion today with my dance team members about, the higher the hair, the closer to God, and the bringing back of scrunchies and the tease it to Jesus. And I'm like, yeah, it's like Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. The hair is bigger in Texas. It's all there.
Yes. Even the bald heads are bigger.
Even the bald head. Now, Roger has an amazing YouTube channel. He's also very invested in trying to get people into the trades of all genders and backgrounds. And so we love that, and teaching them not only how to use social media to grow their businesses. In fact, he's done several talks about how to use social media to grow on your YouTube and influence and income and impact and all of the things. And so he is an award-winning plumber at that. What's the award? It's like master plumber. What's the special title you have?
I'm a master plumber, but I'm a lead AP.
Lead AP.
And the award that I won a contest through American Standard where they named me the next expert plumber.
Yes,
so
it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Very big deal. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead.
That's what got me started on social media.
Roger, you're such a pro.
I just have fun. I love the life I get to live. It is amazing.
It is pretty amazing. And if y'all didn't know, every time Roger and I hang out at a conference, somehow we always end up having a steak together. And then
Yes.
Roger, no matter what, he always ends up paying. So I'm like, this is just going to have to be the thing forever.
That's what we do now.
That's now the pattern. Every time we go to a conference, he buys me a steak. And I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. And I got to be introduced to Tersh, and fantastic.
Isn't he amazing?
As well. He's so great. And one of the most well-dressed gentlemen I've ever seen in my entire life. If you guys haven't seen Tersh Blisset, I think is how you pronounce that. And he is an HVAC guy, and he's constantly coming around in like the vests and the blazers and like just well-dressed, well-groomed, everything, well-spoken gentlemen. And so all these gentlemen in the trades, awesome. Hashtag perks.
Funny. Yeah, exactly. It's funny though. You talk about how well dressed he was. Do you remember his shoes?
They're shiny.
He has got the most extensive shoe collection. He probably has a shoe collection bigger than most women.
Oh, I have no doubt.
I mean, even some of his shoes had like little spikes on them, like women's shoes. And I'm just like, dude, that is crazy. He's like, man, look, I love good shoes.
I've been
Like,
wearing the same
okay.
shoes for like 6 years. And
Yep.
yeah, it's bigger than my collection. I have no doubt at all. I'm not that person. Are you proud of me with my Mophie?
I love that. I heard you say that a while ago, and I was so excited for you. I'm gonna have to upgrade because mine does not have the C port, the C connection.
Yeah, that's why. So I got the new one because it has the USB-C, and then after it's done with the input charging, it does the output. So it's in and out, and then the two USB-As, but 18 watt and like fast charging with this. So I was like, oh. Although, do you have your charger with the light up cables? Every time you're at a conference, you know Roger is charging his phone because his cables actually light up when they're plugged in.
I want you to know, I got on Amazon last week and I ordered about 24 new cables.
Did you really?
Lighted cables that are everything from red, blue, green, and purple. And then I found some that have the multi-port in.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got the C, they've got the old BlackBerry one, they've got the FireWire. So I had to order some of those.
FireWire? So no one has FireWire anymore.
You know,
what?
You may need it. You may need it somewhere.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Every once in a while, if there's a question that comes in, we're answering YouTube questions. You ready to answer one?
Absolutely.
All right. So we got one from Jedediah Williston, and he says, YouTube niche, interview versus help desk. And I'm giving this to you because you have an interesting show / kind of opinion on this. Combining the two, is that the future? So
Absolutely.
The question was the YouTube niche for interview versus help desk. Combining the two, is this the future?
You know, I think that it is. I think that the niche is not the interview or the help desk. The niche is what you talk about. The niche is what your channel is. But you want to be able to give both. You want to be able to teach people how. But the interview is great, especially if you can get people involved. Shelly, I had my first phone call today with my YouTube account representative.
Oh, yay! And how'd that go?
Yeah, so it really went pretty cool. A lot of it was how to build memberships, how to keep people longer, how to do this, how to do that. Look at your puppy dog.
This is the one. If you heard it, he ran away yesterday and was in the neighborhood, and I was trying to like explain I'm a good dog parent except for the running. But he's a track star. That's not my fault.
He's a playa.
He is. He's so handsome. He gets away with everything.
Absolutely. Out looking for a little girlfriend.
You stop it.
Well, I mean, somebody to hang out with. That's what I mean. Nothing bad.
Okay.
That's why he was running fast. So, but back to the question though. I think that you create the how-to, but the interview, I love that because I love the interview and open it up to a Q&A. Just last Monday, I brought in Kohler toilets, and it's great. Plumbers don't know how things are made. So when you get people in there like that, you're like, look, how do y'all make this? How does this happen? How does this happen? And you can learn a lot of things about your industry that maybe other people didn't know. So I love the interview. I love that process, but I also like bringing the Q&A into it. So I think you combine a little bit of both if you really want to grow.
I think the nice thing about an interview style is it keeps people a little bit more relaxed because you're having a conversation, and then it's really easy to spot someone who has expertise and familiarity with the subject because they're just talking. Whereas sometimes if you feel like you have to do a presentation, you get that like clammed up kind of like uptight feeling, and it's just not quite the same. So it's really easy to also then have a partner to either bounce conversation off of or to like have these little things that pop up and then like, oh yeah. And I mean, it's just a lot easier. I think I've always felt it's a lot easier with two people on a live stream.
It is. And the good thing is, especially when it's somebody,
yeah.
it makes the conversation fantastic. Me, whenever I bring in outside experts, I always bring them in, and we normally go into the shop first to shoot a video that's going to come out 9 days later. So that gives us time to edit, time to send it to them, time to get their approval. But the cool thing is I get to teach them, hey, look at the camera. Remember, you're talking to one person, and make that your best friend. So you say you. And when you get them out there and talking, they mess up and they look at you like, uh-oh. It's like, we're good. We're editing. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And it's like, man, you're doing great. I love this. You're doing fantastic. I love the way you talk to people and yada, yada, yada. Man, you get them out there and make it amazing. Then when you jump in the live stream, they're like, man, I've got this. I've already done this. It makes it so easy. So it really is. It's a cool way to do it.
I'm I had to look away because I was trying to grab your YouTube channel URL and everything so that we could put it in the chat.
It's Roger Wakefield. It's
No, I already
easy.
did it.
I love it.
I
I
already
love
did
it.
it. So how's life been for you? I mean, you had been Texas, plumbing, green, yeah, the title of your old company. And then you sold it.
Texas Green Plumbing. I sold
Yeah.
Texas Green Plumbing last November. I walked away with a very nice check that my ex-wife now has. But hey, at
We
least
never
I'm
got
honest
that
about
far
it.
into the story.
Yeah,
I just heard
I know we
the
didn't.
first half of it.
But the cool thing is, I kept a percentage of the new company, which we've pretty much doubled since last November.
Wow.
So it's going really well. The neat thing is, social media is growing, and even though our channels, we're not doing as many views and as many subscribers, but our niche. And this is what I try to tell people is, look, pick your niche and focus in it and become the expert in that niche, because the sponsorship dollars are eventually going to come to you if you can be the person that's talking about that niche or introducing people to new things in that niche. And it really is, it's fantastic.
Well, I was going to say that the way that you use social media, first you got it so that you would get your telephone to ring in your business. And then you were able to continue to grow the size of your company and then attract in a buyer, but it's more valuable and more attractive when there's all of this branding and there was this personality behind it. And then, there's all of this know-how and now everyone knows about it in your town. And so I think that you would have not been able to sell it for as much if you didn't have a corresponding YouTube channel that was really being used to grow that company. And so you're able to use that influence to really make a better payday for your ex-wife.
And she's very happy about it. She is. The cool thing about it though, Shelly, and you're so right, because not only did they buy my company, but they kept me on in a salaried position where I've got to put in about an hour and a half a day. But my role is to keep doing social media, keep doing what I was doing. So, it's nice to get paid to just keep doing what you were doing. And it's a whole lot less work.
Yeah. Now, if you guys are out there, guys and gals, if you have questions, if, maybe it's about the trades, maybe it's about how to use social media, maybe it's about, whatever. If it's YouTube, do not miss this chance for hanging out with Roger and asking him a question. He has his own silver play button channel times 4. He's a pretty big deal. He's the most popular and the biggest plumber out there. So make sure if any of that stuff is a question that you want to ask, Roger's your guy. Yes.
But here's the neat thing, and here's what I like about jumping in every time you go live. I learn something new from you about YouTube all the time, and your knowledge. And it's so funny because talking about Tersh is such an introvert. And I don't know that people know that about you, that when you're in public, you're like, you kind of tone down a little bit. When you got the camera in front of a lot. Well, I was going to be nice. But it's so funny because I'm the biggest extrovert in the world, and somehow you and I connected. And it's funny because when people walk up and start talking to you, I'll just jump in. It's like, hey, what's going on? Leave her alone.
It's like the bodyguard that coming in.
Yeah. You're not allowed to talk to her.
You can't talk to her. You can't talk to her. And it's not even because, oh, I'm too good. I'm just literally I am too awkward for human interaction. Please don't.
And the funny thing is, you do it so well. Even when you talk to people. The good thing, and I think being an introvert helps you, because you're like, look, I really don't like to talk to people a lot. So when somebody asks you something, your wheels start turning, and it's an immediate, direct answer. Boom, done. And it's
yes,
like, oh my God,
because it's we are done
you.
With this conversation as soon as you have the information you need. So I'm going to give it to you real quick in a 1-2 punch. Yep. And we're going to be done.
There it is. Bye.
Jedediah, you are opening up a can of worms right here. I don't know if you see this. He's coming to you from Facebook, and he says, hey, Roger, what do you think about Sharkbite for plumbing? And
he's asking for a reason. I would be willing to bet he already knows. Now, it's funny because I keep bouncing back and forth from YouTube to Ecamm, so I'm not seeing that one. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe I just needed to bounce it. But I still don't see it. Okay. Here's the deal. I love push-to-connect fittings. And I think that I talked to you about this in LA. Or in Fort Lauderdale. That is one of my latest sponsorship agreements.
I knew that you were talking to them. I didn't know if you'd inked it yet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we inked that.
Congratulations! I know, you were
Last
talking to them.
last Friday was the first
Okay,
video.
so it's new. Okay.
It's brand new. It's new for us. They've been around for a while. They weren't growing. I went up to Providence, Rhode Island, did some testing, did some
I
video,
remember.
and I mean, I'm talking like it's a good product. And it's funny because I went up there and they're like, "Look, Roger, Sharkbite is a good fitting. We're just better." And I went through and I tested both and looked at it. So it's been great. So Jedediah, no to the Sharkbite, but there's a new fitting out there
There's
called
a new fitting.
there's a new one called Quick Fitting. And look at my YouTube channel. I did a video last Friday, and just look at the test. We bought
You said you were
ultra
doing it with like the
slow-mo.
different PSI and then making it blow, right?
Yeah. We put like the Sharkbite, a press fitting, and a quick fitting. Pressurized it. The Sharkbite blew apart at 800 pounds. Uh, 800. I think the press fitting blew apart at 1100. The quick fitting blew apart at like 2200. It was crazy.
I remember when you were telling Tersh when we were at the, just mind blown, like, what would you think about this one? He's like, nope, it totally, like, that's amazing.
We get excited about crazy stuff.
No, I was fascinated. So you're not the only one who gets crazy about that stuff. But here's something very specific about that for Jedediah. He has made his feelings very well known about Sharkbite and different reasons why he doesn't like it. So it's almost, like this huge milestone that some company that has something as a product that is almost exactly similar or something to be then talked about in a way where he's like, yes, I would recommend this. And you guys know how much I have poo-pooed all over. Funny as a plumber, sorry. But like how much I've been like, nah, about this one, but this one's good. Because I think more people would be like, oh, and that's like, that would make you pay attention.
Well, and Shelly, think about the validity of this, because when my management team first reached out to me, they said, Roger, would you be interested in this fitting? And I didn't know what it was. I said, well, I'll look at it. And I looked at it and I'm like, no, it's just like this other one. And they're like, Roger, this is a very lucrative deal. I said, okay. They said, Roger, it's almost a 7-figure deal. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not doing it. And they said, can you tell us why? So I literally broke down what problems I saw in Sharkbite fittings, and they took it back to this new manufacturer and said, hey, here's why you won't do it. You're just like them. And they said, well, as a matter of fact, we're not. And they did testing. They sent me video of it. They sent me a complete slide deck. I looked through everything, called my manager back and said, hey, if they're this good, I will talk to them, but I need to go to Providence, Rhode Island and prove this myself because I don't trust anybody. And it ended up where we're at.
It's so crazy, right? How sometimes, and like, that's the thing. It's like, if you can prove, like, you can prove you're better, you can prove like all this stuff, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I'll listen to you. And you had your mind open to just be like, I'm healthy, like skeptical, but I'm willing. And then you were willing to be like, oh, wow, I was wrong. Like, this is actually a pretty good product. So it's amazing how that happens though. And then it's a bonus when not only do you like the product, but then you can get paid well for it. You gotta love that.
That makes it really, really nice.
Roger, what's next for you? I mean, you sold your company, and so now is it like what's going on with your channel now? What are you doing?
I'm still doing my channel.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at new opportunity. I'm looking at a new channel called the Trade Talks.
I know.
We've already started it. 500 subs. I haven't even made a video yet, but we're getting ready to. I know.
You're fixing to get ready.
I'm from Texas. We're fixing to.
I know. It's always fixing to something.
We're fixing to do something. So I've been working in my office. I've got a 3-camera setup. I wish that Sony cameras weren't so hard to get right now.
Yeah.
I know. I literally, we're looking at buying 4 new cameras, and the bad thing is right now I've got 6, but I get tired of bouncing them around.
I know. It's about convenience and time. I get it.
It is, and it's in time. And, the neat thing is, remember you were there with Roberto Blake, and my thought is I'm literally buying 6400s because they're the cheapest camera. but with the lenses that we put on them, they're phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So I've told my guys, hey, when I take you with me, that backpack is yours. We've got 2 cameras in it, 2 tripods, 2 lenses, or however many lenses we want to carry. But that backpack is with you all the time.
That
And
6400 is a good camera. I use that camera. I mean, this
man,
is an
no, I do
A7
too.
III, but I have a 6400 that, yeah, I love that camera. It's a good one.
I've got 6400, 6600. I've got 3 A7 threes. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I have 2 of those, and then I have a 7 R3
R4.
and a 7 S3.
And if y'all, I know I want the S3 so bad. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, Roberto was down at Podfest with us, and while we were in the room, he was actually prepping to go up on stage, and then he discovered that cameras were taken out of his bag. So I thought it was like his camera was on the table and maybe he was going to have someone shoot while he was doing his speech, but no, like they went into his bag and took 2 cameras, 2 G Master lenses, his memory cards. It was really, really devastating because like you're at a conference to teach other content creators how to be better content creators, and then someone stole the content creation tools. It was a really awful, and you know, kudos to him. He pulled himself together, went up on stage, you know, talked about it for a minute and then tried to make some sort of lesson out of it. And we talked about also like, maybe we make a YouTube video about, you know, what happens, conference safety or insurance, or, you know, how do you recover from that? Or like, what would happen if this happened to you? So kudos to him for being able to pull through and have a tough time and still, you know, come out the other side with not quite a smile, but like as much of a smile as can be.
You know, the neat thing is, and whenever you and him and I were sitting at that table outside right before dinner
Yeah.
or during that, Roberto's going to turn this into something positive for him. And I really think he will. The video will be great because getting that information out to people and letting them know. Because I started asking myself, oh my God, do I have enough insurance to cover anything like that? But the neat thing is, you know, we were sitting there talking about different ideas that could come out of this and things that could come out of it. And I'm telling you, Roberto will do really good through this. It's sad though, because I had literally remember he was in the panel right before whoever was speaking. And during that panel, he handed me his phone and or handed me his camera and all that. So I've got it, and I don't remember if I had a handle with it or a gimbal, or if it was no, it was just the camera. So when he finished, he stood there and talked for a little bit, and I had to go to the restroom, so I'm standing there, I'm waiting. And finally he comes over, and I'm like, hey, you want me to hand you this? You want me to put it on your bag? He said, just put it on my bag. So I set it right on top. And he was talking to somebody, and then he walked back over and put everything in the bag. Man, we've got to keep an eye on all our stuff, no matter where we go.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's bad that, like you said, he's there to teach people how to make money, and somebody takes advantage of him like that.
Yeah. That was tough. That was really tough. We have a question from Jedediah, and he's asking you, hey, Roger, what lenses do you use?
I love the G Master lens. I've got that. I've got some, got to think 50 millimeters. We're looking at some, oh man. We try to stay under 70 millimeter for where we're at. So I've got some zoom lenses, but I love that G Master lens.
I want that 24 to 70.
I think I've got 3 of those.
I know you do.
I know. Yeah, no, we really do. We need to figure out when you're coming to town, because and things that I need to learn from you. How do I give my entire team? So yeah, Jedediah, the cameras are great, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. Look at the result you get from like the background. And right here at home, I'm just on a little Logitech Brio, but see how you can, my stuff is pretty much focused. I love that you can focus, you can go blurry, look at the lenses you want, and watch people. And when you see like Roberto Blake, when you see Shelly, when you see me, when you see Benji, look at what their background is, what it looks like, and say, that's the look that I want. And then message them, or go in and a lot of them will tell you, hey, this is how my studio's set up. This is what it looks like. And to me, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I really want that 16 to 35. I want it. A lot. I want it real bad.
I get it.
I know.
So,
And yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, India wants you to know that she has a 6400 with a Sigma 16 millimeter, and I love it. It's my go-to. That's a great combo, especially if you're vlogging with that, because it is that low number, so it's real wide. So, and it's that f1.4. That lens is beautiful. I have that one too.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a great combo. Great combo. All right, you were going to say Roger. Remember,
I think Benchy Travis is the one that uses that one because I think that's the one that I saw it, and I'm like, okay, I want that lens.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I was going to say, I had to let go of somebody today,
and that's always the worst.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's only been around a month, and he was on a temp to hire thing, and it's just bad attitude and punctuality is a big deal to me.
Oh, I think okay, yeah.
Yeah, I believe we talked about it. Mm-hmm. So
I'm like, you're not going to fix that. You gotta.
Yeah, you can't. And he came in late today, and I said, hey, come in here. We talked. I said, bye.
Yeah. No, you gotta.
Well, we went through and changed all the passwords that we thought were critical.
Uh-oh.
He had apparently set up a remote desktop from his home where he could log into his computer and do stuff. So he had been making a bunch of thumbnails, and all of a sudden they all disappeared. So my question is, and I think this is good for everybody, and that's why it's a big one to me, is how do I set it up where I can give my team complete access to my YouTube channel, to everything that they need, but I don't ever have to worry about a disgruntled employee just going in and deleting the channel one day? Okay.
Roles is the answer. So roles in the back end. You a brand channel, you a personal channel?
I think it's a brand because it's a C, right?
Not necessarily. I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to make you click on it, and you're going to be able to see if you're a personal channel or you're a brand channel. So it doesn't matter as much nowadays because personal channels now have the access to these roles as well. But brand channels were it kind of like originally came from this idea. So hold on one second here. I'm going to give you something. And hey, I am calling you out. You did not follow me on Twitter, so I can't message you on Twitter.
Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. I am following.
Did you change it? Did you change it?
As soon as I got in and saw that, I've changed my Twitter account a few times. But yeah, I'm following you. But I tried to go in and message you, and we've probably got to be connected for a while.
Sure. So I'm going to give you this link, and I'm going to and I'll go test Twitter right now. You can click on it and then tell me what you come up with. Okay, so it shows I'm following Shelly Saves the Day, but right below it, it says at Shelly Saves the Day can't be messaged. That's weird. Because we're talking about Twitter, right?
It's the one with the little blue bird, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at your phone because I just sent you a picture.
Okay. Give me a second. Don't you threaten me with a good time.
I know it. I will do it. Steak dinner whenever you tell me.
You know what? That would happen anyway.
You're right. You're right. It would.
Okay, it says following Shelly Saves the can't be messaged.
Oh, gee, see?
Okay, let's go over to Facebook. That's really weird. I don't know why.
No, I'm having a problem with Facebook Messenger. Remember, I had to change all my passwords today. Remember,
you're the worst. Hold on.
I know, I'm horrible.
Let me copy it into the phone here. Let me see. Click here and tell me if it says that you're a brand channel or a personal channel.
Can I do it on my phone? Because I just clicked in.
I think so. You tell me.
It says my brand accounts.
Perfect. Okay, so you're a brand channel. So for you, you want to go into your settings and then your roles. And so there is a help article I can send you about the roles, but one of them, pretty much anything that you have, it can be a manager, it can be a translator, typer person, it can be all kinds of different things, but almost all of them will have the ability to do things like upload YouTube thumbnails or change descriptions, but none of them will have the ability to delete your channel. Only the master plumber of Texas can do that. So that would be you. So you can limit that. Or you could do something also like like a passkey type of thing where you have like a generic helper account go in there, and then you only grant them certain permissions or something, and you can yank permissions in the password thing if you wanted to do something like that. So that's how you fix that.
I love it. That's what I'm going to have to do.
Yep. Let me see here. Roles.
Because it's literally, I mean, think about it. It's scary whenever you have somebody that you're on that borderline with. It's like, are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? And then when you hear them and some things that they say, it's like, look, this person is not mentally stable. And it's like, okay, what happens if they really get mad at me and delete my account?
Yeah, and none of the people in the roles can do that. You're okay. It's going to be fine. So it's going to be under settings and then permissions and then invite. So once you go in under like the invite, you have to put in the person's email address, and then you will select the level in which they have access to yours. So you could have something be like they have subtitle editor. They can be a viewer. So a viewer cannot create, edit, or delete anything. But you may have something like an editor, which they can view anything. They could go live. They can create and edit content. They can't manage permissions or delete content. And then they have a manager, which can delete content but not delete the channel. Does that make sense?
Right. So, and I'm looking at it right now. So I pulled it up as you said. So yeah. Manager's the top dog, then the editor. Yeah. Limited editor, and all the way down.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would select them to be an editor.
Now, does this have to be, well, they've all got Google accounts, so it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. So they'll sign in with their Google account and have access to your channel, but then only within the permission scope that you granted.
Okay, so if I do that, will they have my TubeBuddy access and things like that?
Nope. You would have to go into TubeBuddy, into the legend version part in the settings, add them through email there, and then you'd be able to share permissions with them for TubeBuddy.
Perfect. I love you. You're amazing. You know that.
I know.
I mean, you really are. You just, the value you bring to not just me, but other people, you're fantastic.
You stop. Oh my gosh. Were you here for the story where I went on to full on panic mode because someone sent me a voice note and I hadn't been able to listen to it yet. And I had done like a presentation for their YouTube Facebook group for their group coaching program for YouTube, and I just about lost it thinking they were about to tell me like I was the worst person ever. It's like, whew, goodness.
I get it. I tell you what, I got a bad one. Sean Cannell sent me a Voxer. Okay. Probably 6 months or a year ago.
Yeah.
And I can't find it. It won't play. It never would play. And I tried to message him and never heard back. So it's like, I hope I didn't make you mad, Sean.
Well, you've seen him at a million other events since then, so if it was something he really wanted to repeat to you, he would.
Exactly.
But what's anyone going to say about, like, well, anything to you, of all people, you know?
Well, you know, I try to be nice, but everybody doesn't like me, Shelly, believe it or not.
I don't believe it. I think lots of people like you. I think the majority of the people like you. You stop that.
Hopefully. I try. Okay, so my schedule looks pretty open for July.
Oh, here we go.
Which July's hot in Texas. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's 105 here already. But we do have air conditioning down here. Just saying.
I know. I have a family road trip that's happening. My husband and I, we're going back east at the end of July. So it would either need to be very, very soon-ish, or it would need to be August.
Either way, I'm good. I really think soonish I'm really good. Or later. I think I've got a fishing trip in late August. July, I've got a Boston trip. I don't go out of town from now until July the 18th or 19th.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking it might be August.
Okay.
Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. You're so funny. So, Roger, if you had some advice for anyone getting started on YouTube now, I'm going to ask you for what advice you'd give them. And then I want some advice from someone who's sitting at the 10 to 15,000. So, you've hit a lot of milestones and you're really starting to ramp up. Or even if we went to like 50,000, 100,000, what are you saying is different between someone who's just starting out and then someone who's kind of at that next peak?
Just starting out, you're still frustrated. You're not getting enough views that you're like, oh my God, people love me. Don't give up. And getting to that 10,000, it took me almost a year and a half, 2 years. I would do things a lot different because I've learned more. I would probably reach out to coaches, a Shelly, somebody like that. Look, what do I need? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Because if you learn to ride a bicycle and you don't know what you're doing, you're never going to get it. But with the right coaches and consultants or whatever, I didn't start growing till I started getting coached by Michael Gerber and doing things different. So my thing is, don't give up. Whenever I walked out of the conference that I first learned what YouTube was, I literally thought it was just a storage place online for my videos. I came home that Friday, started implementing on the plane on the way home, coming up with a plan, was in the office all day Saturday and all day Sunday, coming up with my plan. And then Monday I walk in the office and guess what? Plumbing happens. So what I will tell you is you've got to be dedicated and focused, because as soon as plumbing started happening, I got all the guys, everything they needed, got them out, and then called the rest of my team together and said, look, here's what we're going to do and we're going to start now. Don't give up. From 0 to 10,000 is hard. But if you can get to 10,000, you can get to 100,000. If you can get to 100,000, you can get to 1,000,000. I started reaching out to sponsors at 10,000. And I did that from, you mentioned Owen Video earlier. I reached out to Owen and said, look, I've seen you do a slide deck about making money and sponsors and how to do it. And he put together a really good deal. So I took what he was doing. I looked at the people he was talking to, and I looked at the people I was going to be talking to. So I literally doubled my numbers. I thought, you know what? I'm a plumber. I'm doing things different. I'm doing things better than almost any plumbing channel that I can find. So I doubled the numbers. And by the time I hit 40,000, I signed my first sponsorship deal that was just under $500,000.
That's not normal.
No, but it's not. But here's another thing. But you asked, what would I do?
No. That's true. That's true.
You've got to be your biggest cheerleader. If you're not doing something right. Shelly, here's what I love about you. When you tell me I do something wrong, it's like, hey, look, I kind of think you might be doing this wrong. I kind of think, I don't know. I think you're like, look, here's what you're doing wrong. It is what it is.
I do that to you.
But you do. But I love that, because you're not second guessing yourself. You're like, look, here's what you're doing wrong. It is what it is. Bye.
That's what I said. I do it for everyone but myself. Everyone but myself.
But you know what? Here's how you do that. You literally put your big boy panties on, sit down in front of the computer, and go through your channel just like you would anybody else's.
Yeah.
Don't look at you. Don't listen to you. Look at the channel. What is this person doing wrong? And you look at your channel just like you would mine. Roger, I'm going to break your channel down 100 ways. Okay, do it to yours. Because I had a marketing girl at a networking event come up to me one day. And she was there, and look, this was before I started growing. This is before anything. And she owned a marketing company doing websites, and I needed that. So I asked her, I said, can we do a face-to-face after this meeting? She said, absolutely. So we sat down and we talked for a while, and I really liked this young lady. She had some good ideas. And I said, so I've got a question. Why are you here at a networking event? To grow your business? She said, yeah. I said, okay. During our conversation, I said, what are the top 3 things you would tell me to do for my website, for my company? And she said, this. I said, okay. I said, are you doing them for yours? And she looked at me and she says, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm trying to grow my business through a website, and you're telling me this is the magic green beans right here. But you just told me you're not doing it for you. Why not? And this girl literally got tears in her eyes. I said, look, I'm not trying to make you cry. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything. But my question is, if you're not doing it for you, you really don't think it works, do you? Now you're different because I know
I was like, wait a second. Everything that you just said.
I know. But that's why I turned it around and said she was not confident in herself. You are 100% confident in yourself. And that is, to me, why I think I probably respect you more than anybody in this industry, because you are by far the smartest person that I talk to on a regular basis about this. And that never changes. And you're confident in yourself to where you're like, look, I'm not telling you I think this is what's wrong. This is what you're doing wrong, period. Now, what do I have to do to fix it? I don't know, because I don't know what your plans are. Well, no, but I mean, you ask me all the time, Roger, what is your plans? I'm not sure. What should they be? And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't know where you want to go or what you want to do. So when you're here for a week, we're going to have time to uncover all of this.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons that's so important is because if you are going to work with anyone, you have to be able to together define success. Because for some people, it may be about views and subscribers, and truthfully, those aren't necessarily the people that I always want to work with. But, it's about end game. It's not about, choosing the right size drill bit. It's about the hole in the wall to hang the family picture so that you can have this family memory. You know what I mean? And if you don't ask the right questions and uncover the real motivation of why someone is doing what they're doing, is it to increase people in the trades? Is it to increase awareness? Is it to grow your business so you can sell it to the highest bidder? Those types of questions are really, really important. And if the person that you're working with doesn't understand maybe what you're really trying to do, it's going to be really easy to be sidetracked with shiny object syndrome in trying to define success in some other way. So that's just a little thing that I want to put out there, because I feel like a lot of people get that wrong when they want to work with someone, where the only external validation they have is some number that isn't actually specific to the goal they want.
No, and I think that's great. And I love the why. And the way that I tell people about that is, when a guy walks into Home Depot to buy a shovel, he doesn't want a shovel. He wants a hole in the ground.
But what's the hole for?
You've got to find out what is the hole for.
The hole's for a deck. The hole's for a hot tub.
Jacuzzi?
The hole's for a what?
Are you building a jacuzzi? Are you putting a deck in? Do you need a hole for posts to go in?
Is it a replacement? Is it a
hole
first
in the
time?
ground for a swimming pool?
What kind of ground is it? I mean, those are the questions that you got to ask. It's not just, is this shovel the best shovel? Is this shovel the most expensive shovel? Is this shovel the right shovel? Right?
Yes.
Because
is this shovel going to do what you want it to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need a shovel. Sometimes you got a puppy dog that's just, good in the dirt.
Or sometimes you need a backhoe. You need a tractor.
Right? Sometimes you need a auger, whatever that thing is.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
So, okay. So that was the 0 to 10,000. Did you have something for people who, let's say, have a silver play button like yourself? I find a lot of people are now trying to think about scaling, growth, money making, expansion, getting out of the one man, one woman type of thing is kind of my experience. So any advice for the person who's growing and trying to get to 500,000 to $1 million?
Dean Nemman and I used to talk about this. Try to improve yourself 1% every day. 1% is not hard to do. It may be the cameras, the lenses, the things like that. It may be the message. It may be your vernacular. Can I improve my speech? Can I slow down a little bit? I was listening to a deal by Brendan Kane the other day about some of the top YouTube channels, and this was in his book, Hook Point. And he said,
I have that.
He said
I gotta read it.
Oh my God. When you get to chapter 4, Jeff King about PCM marketing.
Chapter 4.
That is the one that hit me. I became a PCM coach because I wanted to understand people's personalities and how to communicate with them. But when he was going through at the time studying YouTube, he says, look, the top YouTubers speak slower and enunciate their words clearer every time they talk. And all of a sudden I started slowing down a little bit. Can I speak clearer? I'm from Texas, and I know that y'all can't tell. I've got a little bit of an accent. It's just a little bit.
Just a little.
But when I get to talking fast, Google doesn't even know what I'm saying. Google's like, what is a tank top water heater? No, it's tank top water heater, y'all. Come on. So it's funny, but here's what I would say. Somebody that's wanting to go from 10,000 to 100,000. What can you improve? Can you improve the quality of your audio? Can you improve your lighting? Can you improve your cameras? Can you improve the quality of the value that you bring to people? Are you doing enough research? Are you just saying, hey, look, I'm just going to do a video about this mug, turn it on, let's go. Oh my gosh, this mug's great. I put ice in it. The ice stays cold. Well, you know what? There's a lot of mugs that do that. What makes it do it? What's it made of? How long will it keep it cold? What kind of value data driven information can you give them? Because a lot of people are looking for that. To me, always try to improve, no matter how good you think you are, or even if you don't. Look, I'm a mediocre YouTube channel. I've got so much improvement to do, and I'm building a team around me and hopefully getting the right people in to help me get there. And that's what I would say is keep being consistent, but keep looking in the mirror and say, look, what can I do to get better? And if you ask yourself that every day, you'll get there.
I think a lot of people get very complacent, like, oh, I'm already pretty successful, and they, take the brake off or, the gas off at, 100,000, like, oh, because then 1 million sometimes seems so, like, not obtainable. A lot of people don't really go hard and then be like, okay, now we're going to dig in and now we're just going to really go for it. And I feel like a lot of people don't do the things like improve their audio or improve their video or increase some sort of, multi-camera thing, like upping their level and game. And they really don't. And then they wonder why they don't continue to grow or they don't continue to, bring in more of everything. And it's an interesting thing when you see them kind of like start coasting, because it's enough to be fairly comfortable. But I think one of the things that's great about you and so many other people kind of in our space, like we're all students and we want to learn and we're hungry for like not just like the quick fix. We want to know, like, what are you doing? What's working for you? What's not working for you? What would you avoid? What would you, recommend? And those types of things are like really valuable. And those conversations are what are valuable as you start to like think about how you're going to up level. Because I feel like a lot of the people in our creator community, they're very generous if you ask them, if you are with them. But it's harder when you're not face to face. And so that's why sometimes you have to go to some of those events and you have to go and network, or you have to reach out and really cultivate some of these relationships, because otherwise you're just a little lonely silo by yourself.
You've nailed it though. You're so right. And I love the way you say, look, this community, that we're also giving. Not just me, but I mean, everybody I've met pretty much is so giving of their time, their knowledge. The second conference I went to, the first one was Social Media Marketing World. Then I ended up at Video Marketing World here in Dallas. And actually, I think I went to Vid Summit before that. But at Video Marketing World, I show up. Nick Nimmin was there. I was like starstruck, like, oh my God, I watch this guy on YouTube. But Owen Video talked to me and says, hey, we're going to dinner. Do you want to go? So my first night at a conference, which I didn't know anybody, but I went there the night before because I didn't want to have to drive the other side of Dallas. I'm having dinner with Owen Video, Nick Nimmin, Jessica Stansberry. And it's like these people within Big John. I mean, there's like 10 of us there. They treated me like they knew me forever. And I'm like the smallest YouTuber here, and man, these guys are just amazing. And I remember Trent was talking to me about Google My Business. And he says, look, I'm going to businesses, and for $10,000, I redo their Google My Business page. Here's what I do. Here's what I do. Here's what I do. And it makes them money immediately. And I'm like, wow, I'll never remember that. He said, I'll send it to you. It's easy. And it's like, it is, yeah. but that's the way people are. And, you talk about people getting complacent. Shelly, you've been at conferences with me. I sit on the front row. I've got my
gosh, y'all, he is front row with his Mophie, his cables, and his, like notes. Yeah. Like he's there. He's a student. And I saw him at PodFest, and I was like, oh my God, are you speaking? Because a lot of the time I'd be like, oh, you would show up here if you were speaking. You're like, no, I'm just here to learn. And I'm like, what? Like, yes. Yeah, like I'm just here to learn. I'm learning all the things. And I was just like, you could be up on stage right now talking.
and think about how bad that is. I went to work on the PodFest to go in there to learn. I'm working on a podcast, so that's where I should have been. But it's like, wait, I can learn from these people over here. Shelly speaking, Roberto speaking. I can learn from these people. So I'm in here with my notebook, and I don't think I ever left that room except for,
Yeah.
an hour or two when you were in the other room.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But that's my deal. I continuously learn, and investing in cameras. I was talking about cameras a while ago. I bought an ultra slow-mo camera out of Canada that I can film 1,000 frames per second in high definition.
So
high
when
definition.
that like thing blows, it's really going to be like awesome.
It's exactly what
Super
it
slow-mo,
is.
guys.
You get to see it crazy. But that's it. And I think since we've had it for about 3 months. We've used it twice. But the 2 times we've used it, it's phenomenal.
Friggin' rad.
You bet. And that's
and people would remember that. They will remember that video. They're like, how did they do that? Or they have expensive gear to be able to do this. And you're like, because I care about the quality of video in which I'm giving to you. Like, that's why I'm doing it. Okay? That's why I'm doing it.
And that's it. And, the old editors I used to have would say, look, Roger, we can just do slow-mo on the phone. We can slow it down to 240 frames per second with the computer. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't look that good.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to look perfect. And if I can spend this money and make it look perfect, it's worth it because it's always going to look perfect. And to me, that's a big deal. That's what's going to get you from the 10,000 to the 100,000.
That's the having the right tools for the job type of thing.
If you don't have the right tools, you need to invest in new tools.
Sometimes a lot of the people will tell you just go with what you have and do all that stuff. That is going to say, though, the difference between then the up-leveling once you've established and now you're trying to up and elevate for your audience versus just the practice of getting out there, publishing, and being consistent and making content. So let's not be mistaken where you have to have like all of this equipment before you can start. It's when you're up leveling and you're ready, you get the right tools for the job.
And that's what it's about. And you got one of my buddies in here, Mr. Camera Junkie, in the house.
He says, is it a Kronos camera?
2.1, brother. I was waiting for the big dog.
Woo!
Yes,
have you
indeed.
seen the new DJI little mini drone, the new 3? I haven't ever really like driven a drone, but I saw that one and I'm like, you don't need a pilot's license or anything like that for that specific one because of its weight. And I was just like, do I want to get into drone videography? No, but would it be cool? Yes. Anyways.
See, my problem is, of course, I'm looking at them and I'm looking at like the Mavic 3 Pro or whatever.
Oh, I think that's the one. Yeah, the Mavic 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, the one I'm looking at is a huge one.
Oh, okay. Then maybe it's not because this one is meant to be tiny.
yeah. No, I see. I pulled it up as soon as you said it. Yes, it's the DJI Mini 3 Pro.
Yeah.
Mini 3 Pro. Yes.
Yeah. That one you don't have to have your pilot's license for or whatever.
That is cool.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Roger, do you have anything that you want to chat about specifically? YouTube question. I didn't even give you a chance to ask. We had people in the audience ask. Do you have something?
No, you did good. You literally, my thing was access and security. That was phenomenal. I will start going through and playing with that tomorrow. I've given my people access. I pulled it up while you were talking about it. I had given my people editor and manager and stuff like that. Okay. But to get them into TubeBuddy the right way, I've always just given them my access.
Oh, yeah. No, you don't have to do that.
You
know how to do it in TubeBuddy?
Not yet, but I will figure it out, or we will. I may call you and say, let's figure it out.
So let me open up this real quick. Oh, they changed their landing page. Hold on here. Proud of you for landing that deal. I know you were kind of pumped about it.
I am super stoked. I really am. It's and it's really funny because even today I was looking at another deal.
Of course you
and were. Well, man, they come in every day now, so it's kind of cool.
It's every day.
Well, and maybe not every day, but I'm like, it's enough that I'm making a bigger footprint in the plumbing industry. So it's really neat. I like that.
Okay, you're going to go into the TubeBuddy.com, select your channel, And then under the settings cog on the lower left-hand side above the canned responses, you're going to see the users authorized to access this channel. You put in their name, you put in their email, you hit grant access, it will send them an email.
Perfect.
So that's where it is. If you need me to take a screenshot, I will, but that's where it is.
Yeah, I'll need you to. It'll just because I know. At least I'm honest about it.
I know. I thought that was going to be sufficient, but apparently not.
You know what? I'll come back and watch this tomorrow, so don't worry about that. That's good. I'll get you another view out of it. I'll make all my guys watch it.
You stop. It's fine. How is it going with the new channel? What kind of content are you going to put on there?
It is going to be, we're calling it the Trade Talks.
Is that going to be the podcast video channel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what it is. And believe it or not, I've already got a sponsor for it.
Of course you do.
One of the products, the sponsor deal that we looked at and signed today, they want to be mentioned in the podcast.
Oh, okay. So sponsored read.
So it'll be they want to be sponsored on the YouTube podcast channel, on the Trade Talks channel. So it's just a 30 to 60 second mention in the intro, but it's a great product. It's something that all the trades companies need. So I think this will be a good deal too.
Sweet. I have an audiobook for you to listen to. It's not necessarily just business, but it's a quick listen or read. It's called The Last Lecture. Have you heard
Oh my God. Randy, what's his name? Randy something?
Yes.
Oh my
God.
God.
Have you read
it? Shelly, I cried. It was like, oh my God, I love this. Yes.
So good, right?
That is amazing.
I have about 40 minutes left of it. It's a 4-hour audiobook if anyone is out there. Also remember, you don't have to pay for Audible. You can just go to Libby, put in your library card information, listen to it, okay? But it's called The Last Lecture. It's audiobook as well as available then on Kindle. And it's a professor who knows that he is dying of terminal cancer, pancreatic cancer, I believe it is. And so he has convinced his wife to let him do a last lecture speech. And so he's kind of rolling in some of these life lessons that he's learned in the midst of trying to create this speech while he is dying. So go listen to that one. Roger cried.
Oh my God. I got chills just you talking about it. And it's been so long since I've listened to it. As soon as you started talking to it, I'm like, I've got to listen to this again.
It's a good one, right? It's a good one.
I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm not studying YouTube as much. I learn it from the conferences and people that I trust and consult with, you. But I am listening to E-Myth again because of the business mindset. I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich. I think that is one of the most phenomenal books because of the way it's done, the way it teaches you, to get your mindset, to build your mastermind, to do this. And I love that. But I was at a conference about 2 months ago, and it's a friend of mine. It's his conference. Actually, it's one of my business partners. And he was talking, and he's in the mastermind group with Russell Brunson. And he says, everybody talks about reading 52 books a year. He said, what if you pick 5 books and read them 10 times? And I love that mindset. And then it's funny because I was listening to an interview this morning on the way into work where they interviewed Michael Gerber and Ken Goodrich. And Ken Goodrich owns Goddell HVAC. He's probably a billionaire by now. He has sold about 25 plumbing companies to this one big organization that keeps buying them to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay.
When I talked to him 2 years ago, he was looking at selling his company for $200 million or keeping it and growing it. And then this interview, it just so happened that I started watching this morning. I've still got more to finish. During this interview, he said in the next 24 months, I'm wanting to grow this company and sell it for $500 million. Dang. So he's probably there by now, but he is a student of Michael E. Gerber's. So, I'm listening to Chaz talk and I'm thinking, wait, Ken Goodrich in this interview this morning says the E-Myth book is what changed him and got him to become the entrepreneur that he was. But he said he read the E-Myth book 39 times in 3 years. And he said the first 4 or 5 times he read it word for word straight through. But then it got to be anytime he had a problem, he knew where to go in that book to just get his mind right and then come back in and say, look, here's how we're going to take care of this.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I did read a book, and then it's amazing how little of it you retain. And then you're like, I have some of these general principles. Like I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a and it was funny, but and I remember some of the principles, but I'm like, oh, if I went back and heard it again, if I listened again, I think it would be different. And so I think revisiting is actually a really good idea. So I actually put another book in the chat as a recommendation, and it is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And I remember reading it and being like, oh, this is really good. And then now I could not tell you anything about it, but I'm like, I should go read it again, because it's actually referring to being a little bit better. Just how do you improve a little bit? It's that slight edge, that slight improvement, that slight. And I'm like, I should go back and listen to that again. But that's another recommendation if you haven't listened to or read that one yet. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
There's another really good short one by Seth Godin called The Dip.
And I think I've heard of that one.
It is amazing, because literally, I mean, it starts off, he's like, look, if you're not trying to be the very best, why not? You know, the best make the most money, the best are the most respected, the best are this, the best are that. So that's one that I enjoy and I come back to quite often.
And the one thing that I want to say about this is we're kind of coming back to the fact that it's about not being complacent, it's about improving your mindset, improving your skills, improving, up-leveling all of that, and then coming back and then realizing like, hey, I didn't remember as much as I thought, or I can listen to it again, I can learn again. And I think one of the things that frustrates me most is I see a lot of the same, I don't mean this in any harm, and y'all know this, I see a lot of the same people in a lot of the same rooms or in the same live streams asking the same types of questions, and it's hours. It was back when it was the time suck of Clubhouse. It was hours on a YouTube live stream on, sorry, y'all, I mean, with love and respect. Maybe if you spent the 2 hours listening to a book, improving your skill, watching tutorials about how to actually tell better stories, work with the equipment that you have, it would be better time spent so that you could do that 1% slight edge improvement on your next YouTube video than continuing to sit in the same, like, how do I grow on YouTube type of live stream that you've seen the answers tons and tons of time again, and where the answer is almost always go try it, go do it, go taste it, go experiment, and you don't. And I don't mean that in any kind of harsh way. I say I hate with love, but like I'm sick of seeing the same people asking the same questions in the same places, and then wondering why you don't have the success that you want, wondering why you don't have the results that you want, because you spent 4 hours doing a Netflix binge instead of 4 hours learning about how to actually master your camera or whatever.
I love it, because Gary Vee says, quit watching Lost.
Right?
And it's so true. I literally, and Shelly, my life changed whenever I started listening to the right things. And that's where I started listening to audiobooks. That's where I started listening to Jim Rohn, John Maxwell. And, when you see me, I'm on the front row taking notes on social media, but I'm also learning management, leadership, personalities. I mean, PCM, whenever you get to chapter 4, I think PCM will surprise you, because it's like you can learn to communicate with people in their language. Mm-hmm. Say you spoke Spanish and I spoke English and we try to communicate. We're not going to communicate very well. If I'm talking, you're not receiving. If you're talking, I'm not receiving. But if I can start talking Spanish, now we're communicating. If you can start talking English, now we're communicating. When you learn what type personality somebody is and you can communicate with them in their language, it's received a completely different way. So I want to know what you think of that chapter. It really, chapter 4, that one changed. It changed my mind. It changed a lot on me. It really did.
So there is an exercise that happened when I used to work at Amazon way back in the day. We had a 1-day entire conference about, I forget exactly what they call it, but effective communication through some certain skill. And one of the exercises about it was you have groups that are shown once the instructions for a card game. And then no one is allowed to talk. And then you play said card game. And then you go to the next table and then you play the card game again. And what they don't know is that at different tables, they have different rules, but you can't talk. So you're going through it and then all of a sudden you're like, you think you won, but actually someone else thinks they've won. And how do you then clarify exactly what's happening, who's winning? Because the thing was, if you win, you go to the next table. If you lose, you stay at this table or whatever else. And it's very confusing to a lot of people when you can't verbally communicate. How am I supposed to say I won and I'm going to the next table when you think you've won, and so on? So you can imagine. And so there's a lot of what happens, like, are you a clarifier? Someone called me a clarifier. Is like, so I got to the next table because I was not going to have that happen again. And be like, is this card, is it high or is it low? Is basically, I was pantomime, is it this or is it this? I'm like, let's get on the same page. And then we played the game and then we figured out the rules and we were able to switch. But for some, and then they would be like, oh, just so you know, some of you don't have the same rules. Some of you haven't figured that out. Some of you are angry about, what's happening right now. And, some of you like did it in different ways. So if you, that was just like, it stuck in my head in such a way that I was like, you can all receive the same instruction, right? Which is go to your table, be silent, go through these rules. And then one thing just trips someone up. You read it wrong or you read it correctly. Either way. And everything is just completely different. So that has always stayed with me, that game.
That's good, but I mean, think about it too. What we're talking about here is social media. Let's talk about YouTube.
Yeah,
we're all playing under different rules.
Yes,
and we don't know.
Anyone who wants to say that they're not as well is a liar, and they can't realize, and they can't see it.
And that's it. And what we've got to do is look at your community. Those are the people at your table. Are you playing fair with them? Are you bringing them value? Do they understand, or do you understand them, what they think is good? And man, that's a great analogy. I like that. That would have been a fun thing to go through one day.
Well, let me ask you, I was very quick to agree and say, we're not on the same playing field, or all creators are not. Can you define why you think that is? And then I will pipe in and say why I think that is.
I think it's that way because YouTube is a platform that a lot of the big people on it teach you how to use that platform. And look at some of the biggest channels. Look at Roberto, look at Nick, look at Daryl, look at Sean, look at all these people. I remember D Nemon one day, we were in a live stream, Nick and D were live, and I was in there and somebody said, I can't do this. It's what I do is not made for YouTube. And D says, wait a minute. He says, I can see walking in a room with 500 people sitting around the wall, and you keep walking up to people and say, who are you and what do you do? And he says, I can see walking up to Roger and Roger saying, I'm Roger, I'm a plumber, I'm going to be a big YouTuber. You'd be like, yeah, right. Good luck with that. YouTube is different for me because the people getting on YouTube for them are wanting to learn to do YouTube. And I think it's a great platform for that. We learn to do YouTube on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it's harder for me because I'm communicating with a lot of people that normally don't come to YouTube. Or if they do, they're just looking for an answer to one question. They're not, I tune into you all the time because I learn something new all the time. Most of these people aren't going to watch me all the time because they're like, look, I know how to do a lot of things Roger already talks about. But if they're looking for something specific, they do. So I think it's a different platform and game for different people. But I think I'm also the example of, look, if you'll learn to play the game right and give people what they're really looking for, you can still win.
I think you're an interesting character too, because you don't have a lot of ego and you're always willing to be like, teach me, show me.
I want to learn.
Let's do it. Let's tell me all the things I'm not doing right. I don't need another yes person in my life. And that's one thing I think that's really important. If you're going to work with someone, is can they absorb what you're telling them? Can they apply it? Because you have a lot of people that are big in talking about like, oh my gosh, all these things that I'm going to do. And they do none of them. And then they complain about the same results that they haven't gotten, you know? And so I've experienced that where I have someone and I'm doing a coaching session with them and I say, look, like, this may not be the right fit if you're someone who has a lot of excuses. If you're someone who like is going to be assigned homework and then you don't do it, you know, that's not someone that I want to continue to work with. And I'm like, I can't care more about your channel's success than you do. And I can't do the work for you. And I remember that because someone as like a trainer once said that to me. And so I had gotten a couple like training sessions at some gym, and you know, he was like, you're supposed to do 20 minutes of blank twice until the next session. And I showed up and he asked me, did you do 20 minutes of blank? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't. And he's like, you don't have to apologize to me. I don't particularly care. You're the one who said you wanted to do it. You're the one who said that, you know, you made the promise. And so you should apologize to yourself. And I was just like, ow. But I did it after that, right? And it's true. Mm-hmm. It's like, and that's the thing is, I don't want to have a session where I show up to someone's, you know, whatever, and then be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that done this week. Like, doesn't matter to me if you don't do it, but, you know, it could possibly tarnish this relationship because I can't trust you to do what you're going to follow through on. And I can't also then be associated with something like this if you're then going to turn around and be like, Shelly's the worst YouTube coach. You know, I hired her to do consultation and my channel didn't grow at all. And I'd be like, the other half of that sentence was, yes, I was assigned things to do and never did them. And so it's a hard position to be in because you're like, I'm not responsible for anyone's success or failure, but I also feel responsible. Like I want everyone to do well, but it's like, it's hard because like I have to pry myself away from some of those situations where I'm like, I can't help you because you won't help yourself. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. I love that. I heard a lady put it in a great way one day. She said, I went to the gym, kind of like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the trainer says, so did you do this? She said, no, I didn't have time. He said, okay, wait a minute. I want you to change that statement because we've all got time. I didn't make time? Yeah. It says, I want you to tell yourself, I didn't not have time to, I chose not to. Because if you'd have got up 30 minutes earlier, you could have done what we're talking about. You made choices.
You chose to watch Netflix. You chose to watch some show.
Lost.
A rerun, probably. You chose to be in Clubhouse instead of doing that and running on the treadmill at the same time and multitasking. And it's true, right? You either find a way or you find an excuse. And it happens all the time. And we all rationalize and bargain with ourselves as to why, you know? And so we don't like it when you're like, hey, if you want this, you're not going to be able to do this and this and this if you really want this. And then you're like, well, let me just... And I'm like, the person you're bargaining with is yourself. So at the end of the day, it's not me you're bargaining with, it's you. You're bargaining with your own self, and you're mad at someone, or not mad, but you're embarrassed or ashamed for someone who wants the goal more than you do. You said you wanted this thing. Here's the thing to help you get there. You didn't do any of it.
It's really funny. The guy that I go of today, whenever we're in the office talking, I said, look, you've been late like 7 times in the last 2 weeks. I said, and every time you come in, you've got a great excuse. He said, I'm not giving you excuses. I'm giving you reasons. I said, no. I said, that's part of the problem right there. You think you have reasons for everything. I said, but all they are excuses. I said, and I've heard them all. I said, they sound better to you than they do to me. Yeah. So we're just going to call this the end of the road right here. And he wasn't real happy, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it is what it is.
But if you also don't have someone who sets boundaries and sticks to them, it's hard to like respect them and trust them in the future too, right? It just turns out that way.
Yes.
It just turns out that way because all of a sudden it's like, oh, if they're okay with this being late, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, instead of a day late, you know, now it's a week late. And then all of a sudden it's like, but, you know, Roger's not going to get that mad, even though he says like, it's important. It's not that important. It's not like I'm going to get fired important. And it's true that you either find the time, you make these excuses. And so I remember I used to do retail management. And so I used to be like, you think I'm tough now. Like I was a real jerk back in the day. And so I would be, you know, the kind of be like, you're 2 minutes late because you had like a 2-minute window, you know? And I was like, you're 2 minutes late. Or if you're more than 2 minutes late, you're officially like tardy. And so it's just like the first time it's like, do you need me to buy you an alarm clock? Do you want to set an alarm, 15 minutes earlier? Is it a problem with a bus schedule where I could schedule you 15 minutes later and you're not going to be running? Because sometimes, people would get on the bus to get to work. Like, is it something where it's coming up close to that where it would be more difficult for you to come? Like, you have to be, sometimes 45 minutes early or like 2 minutes late each time. I mean, if it's something like that and within my control, let me schedule you a half an hour later, something like that. Not a big deal. But if I offer you a solution and an alternative and you say, oh, no, it's fine. And then you're continually late after that, then it's I didn't know how into like, I choose to not know. Or something. And it's just like, okay, the second one's not okay. The first one's almost excusable. The second one's like definitely not okay. And so I wasn't very nice, Roger.
No, and I'm the same way. I think that we see it the same way. But I mean, think about it. How often are you late?
Me?
Yeah.
Not very.
Yeah, me. I told him, I said, you've been late more times in the last 2 weeks than I have in the 5 years since I've been in this building.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. So it's tough.
I will say it's tough because at some meetings, I'm always like 1 to 2 minutes. Like I'm always the first one in the Zoom or whatever. And so when someone beats me into a Zoom, it's like a very rare occasion. And I'm like, oh, like that's rare for me. But I will say I've worked at some places where like if someone's late, they just start late. And no one says anything, and then the next meeting is late, and it's just late, and it's just continually, and I'm like, oh, no. I was like at Amazon where people give you a polite knock, like 1 minute, before, and then at the time, they just open the door and say, get out, and then if they're real mad, they get up, and they say, get out, and they unplug your laptop and hand it to you. That was my world, so I'm like, you don't start late, and if you come late, you still end on time. You don't run over. That's disrespectful. So,
disrespects everybody, yes,
it
indeed.
does. Modern Day Tech says, if I'm not 5 minutes early, I'm late. You former military man.
and I'm not a military guy, but that's the way I'm the same way. I am the same way. Yeah. Well, Shelly, I got to jump. It is almost 9 o'clock here. I got stuff to do before I get ready for bed. Thank you for inviting me in here tonight.
Always. Thanks for coming on. You guys give a round for Roger. Give a round of applause. Roger.
Thank y'all.
You're amazing. Say goodbye and say where people can find you.
On YouTube, just look for plumbing or stopped up toilets or anything like that. You'll definitely find me. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. Great spot to talk to me.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you hit him with a LinkedIn. Are you Judy Fox?
No, but you know what? I still go over there. I still do 2 lives a week over there.
Do you?
I'll tell you what, and people that are watching, if you want sponsorships, LinkedIn's a great place to do it. You look at the companies they work for, go to them, connect with the people, break it down, search CMO. Guys, that's where I get most of my sponsorship. So, Shelly, you be nice to me.
I'm always nice to you, except for when I'm hating you with love. But also, you just know right now that you're currently on LinkedIn. On my LinkedIn. Are you proud?
I am. I'm happy for you. I love that.
I'm happy for you.
I do. I love that.
I'm happy for you. Roger, thank you so much for coming in. And I'm always so happy when you're here.
Well, thank you for the offer. I have a blast with you. I learned so much from you, and just your attitude, your energy, it radiates. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
All right. Let's get together and get you to Texas.
I know. It's going to happen.
All
right. Bye.
Bye.
Y'all, how great was Roger? Give him a round of applause. He's the best, right? He is that guy, like, when you see him at a conference, you yell at him and you're like, Roger! And you recognize the mustache. And it's also on his face because he has like a million of these long sleeve shirts that just has his face and name on it on front and back. So there's like no way you can miss him. So if you see him at a conference, you'll know it's him because he's self-branded himself with his handlebar mustache. And he's really easy to recognize. Okay, so we have been going for quite a long time. There's no air conditioning in this room. The dogs are crying, so I'm going to go and jet. I hope that you guys enjoyed the YouTube Q&A. There weren't that many Q's to try and A, but I'm glad that we had Roger come in and talk to y'all about being amazing too as well, right? So if you have other YouTube questions, make sure you leave them as a comment or on the community post because we will be doing more of these in the future. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you guys in an episode of the podcast. It's back next week with my co-host, Dan Golden and also Gwen Miller. And then we will be going live at 5:30, so regular time next week on Thursday. All right. So have a great night, everyone, and I will catch you next